Happy New Year. 2025, here we come. It's at this time of year that my husband and I like to do a particular reflective exercise. And that's what I'd like to share with you today as the content of this episode. It's a great idea to take stock every now and again. And this time of year is literally the perfect opportunity to do just that. Hopefully, you've got a little bit of space and time to yourself to be able to perhaps grab a pen and paper or, some sort of workbook, digital workbook of some kind, whatever you prefer to take notes on, and write down a few questions for yourself because it's a powerful little exercise that I'm going to be sharing with you. So, taking a look at your life and, in particular, perhaps your finances, have you started to take a closer look at them as a result of listening in to these episodes, if you have been doing so historically? Or perhaps you're brand new to this and it's just, you're fresh to this. And perhaps as a suggestion, you could download the Financial Freedom Spreadsheet, which is in the link in this podcast. And you can grab that for yourself and have a chance to fill it in to see where you're at. Because in gaining a closer look at where you sit financially at the moment, that can help you to take stock and to make those reflections on how far you've come so far, where you're sitting at the moment, and what adjustments you need to make in order to switch up your life and make those necessary adjustments to be starting to head in the direction that you'd really like to be going. If you've already done it before and it's been a few months, then perhaps do it again to see just how far you've come since the last time. Okay, so that's the first suggestion to you. Secondly, how are you feeling about the direction that you're heading in life at the moment? In general, I mean, in terms of your work-life balance, in terms of are your finances expanding or are they contracting? And how is this making you feel in terms of, maybe I'm feeling okay about my finances or about my life, but I'd like to change it so that I'm maybe able to go down to 3 days a week or 4 days a week working instead of working full time. Or maybe I'd like an extra £500 a month coming in to be able to do the more fun activities and have a bit more to spend on myself and my family. It's those sort of things that we're looking at in terms of how your life situation currently is making you feel. So we've done this reflection on various occasions and it can be extremely useful. We've done it throughout the years and we've managed over the course of time to make adjustments as we go along so that we're not carrying on batting our heads against a brick wall if things are not going according to plan. We stop, we take notice, we see what's going well, what's not going well, and what adjustments we need to make in terms of really getting on track with our life objectives. Because if you don't stop, then to be quite honest with you, it could be feeling like you're bashing your head against a brick wall and you keep on going in the wrong direction and you're just doing the same old and getting the same results when actually you want to make these big changes, but you're not doing the things necessary to get yourself into the place that you want to be. So it helps to check in with yourself to see if you're still feeling on track in that sense, or whether you need to make some of those tweaks and changes. Obviously, this is only in as far as you can control the activities and the ways that you're making these changes. External circumstances can have a bearing, of course, and sometimes you feel like you can't make the changes. But if you become aware of what needs to change, then you will find that there are an awful lot of things that you can do to influence the outcomes. And if you're taking responsibility, taking ownership, and being able to make alternative decisions, then that's very, very empowering. So this is the purpose of the exercise. So hopefully you've got that pen and paper or that notebook handy and you can write these things down. So what do you feel has gone really well over the last year? And what do you feel has not gone so well? Just take a minute to reflect on that and perhaps just write it down so that you can really get into this after this episode. The next question is, what are the top 1 to 3 actions that you took this last year in terms of your own personal sense of lifestyle or financial freedom? Those top 1 to 3 things that you did. And if you didn't do anything towards it, why not? And what could you change? Okay. Top 1 to 3 things that you actually managed to do in terms of your own personal sense of financial or lifestyle freedom. And the next question is, what are the top 1 to 3 things that you wish you had done but didn't do? Okay, the top 1 to 3 things you wish you had done but didn't do. Next, go back and see what would have happened if, for example, you'd chosen to pay attention to your outgoings more, your expenses. Or what would have happened if you'd managed to save your savings into different pots, I call them. Yeah, so that you'd allocated funds in different ways so that you'd, I guess, managed your money more effectively or better to give you more choice about where that money was going to. Or perhaps you wish you'd got involved in cryptocurrencies because they've gone absolutely bananas the last few months. Or perhaps it was, I'd love to have bought a property or started that business or an other decision that you would have liked to have made. Okay, because making those decisions, at least reflecting back on the ones that you didn't make, enable you to think, okay, what changes do I need to make this year in terms of my dreams coming true? Okay, and then the next question I want you to ask yourself is, what are the top 1 to 3 things that you are definitely going to do or continue with in 2025 in order to help you feel or achieve that sense, that personal sense of freedom? Okay, what are the 1 to 3 things you're definitely going to do in order to achieve that sense of financial and personal freedom? So, on doing this exercise, once you've had a chance to write this all out, you'll be able to see just how far you have come over the last year. If you've made good progress towards what you'd like to achieve, or, you know, what things you need to do in order to make those changes and that shift happen. And if you've already started on this journey or you're quite far along it, then I'm sure you'll be able to see that most of it has had to do with a shift in your thinking, your mindset, as well as your actions, because it's in shifting where our heads are at that it encourages us to make different decisions and take different actions towards the things that we want to have happen in our lives. And that is hugely important. Now, there's a saying, I'm sure you've heard it before, which is people massively overestimate what can be achieved in a year, but hugely underestimate what can be achieved in 5 years. So don't give yourself too much of a hard time if you haven't come as far along the journey as you'd like, because it's what's going to happen over the next 5 years that's really going to count. The foundational aspects occur during the first 1 to 2 years, 1 to 3 years even, of becoming aware of having the choice to work towards personal and lifestyle and financial freedom. And then it starts to become exponentially better after that. So today, I'd like you to think how far you'll go in 5 years' time. Now that you have the knowledge and the developing skill set through listening to podcasts such as this and any others which are along this vein that you didn't have a year ago or however long you've been listening to this type of content. So I'd like to really stop and think where you'd like to be in 5 years' time. And remember that successful people learn to make decisions quickly from their instincts or their gut feeling, as well as their research and their due diligence, of course. And they change their minds slowly. And less successful in terms of wealth creation people tend to take ages to make decisions and then change their minds quickly because they think they doubt themselves and they don't know what don't necessarily know what they're actually doing. So They don't give themselves enough time for things to work out. So this is really, really important in terms of what you're going to be taking into this year. All right. So the next little part of the equation is this. What are you taking with you into 2025, and what will you leave behind? Now, I want you to think of a one-word answer for these, and again, jot it down and just see what comes to the top of your mind when I ask you. So this is in terms of a sense of being. This is called the one-word exercise, and it is in terms of your own personal sense of being. So one thing that you'd like to leave behind in 2024? What's the one sense of being? Maybe it's doubtful, maybe it's fearful, maybe it's anxious, maybe it's uncertainty. I don't know, whatever your word is for you. What would you like to leave behind in 2024? And then the next question is, what one thing would you like to carry forward into 2025 in terms of your sense of being? And that could be you want to carry forward a sense of peace. Maybe it's a sense of joy, or a sense of love, or a sense of yes. Whatever it is for you, I'd really like you to consider how you'd like to be going forward into this year. And just remind yourself, take stock of that and take it forward with you as the new energy into this year. And of course, last but not least, is what is the one thing that you'd like to celebrate about from last year? Maybe it's something that happened for you. Maybe it's something you managed to achieve. Maybe it's some sort of breakthrough you had. I don't know, whatever it is. What's the one thing that you would really like to celebrate from the last year? And again, give yourself a massive pat on the back for that. And yeah, just really embrace that celebration and acknowledge it. And all I'd like to say, really, to round this episode off, is to say a massive well done for doing the work on yourself, for listening into this type of content and actually making the steps towards a life that has meaning for you. And I'm not talking about meaning just in terms of the money that you make or the wealth you create or what have you, but it's what that enables you to then do, because that is the most meaningful part of wealth creation and financial freedom, is the ability to live your life on your terms. So well done for showing an interest in this topic. And however far you feel that you've come, even just turning up, taking part, taking it all in and starting to do the small steps is a massive thing. So do not underestimate the power of your actions in this sense. A massive, massive, huge pat on the back to you. If you would like to receive more help and more direction and more guidance on your journey, then please do touch base with us at thefreedomclub.com. That's the-freedom-club.com. The link is in the description below, as we'd love to be able to continue to empower you along your journey into 2025. So if you feel to do so and you want to make more progress towards your financial and lifestyle goals, then please do touch base with us. And all I can say is enjoy this New Year period. Enjoy getting yourself set up for the new year. And of course, if you're listening in later on in the year or on another year, then wherever you're at, then set yourself up with listening into this episode hopefully will come at the right time for you, and you can still do this exercise at any point. We certainly haven't just restricted it to doing it on a new year basis every single year. Sometimes it's been in the middle of a year or at the end of a particular project that we've done. So this exercise can be done at any time. Don't feel that just because it's not New Year when you're listening in that you can't do this exercise, because you absolutely can. So have fun with it, enjoy it, and I will see you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in.